Shit is getting wild, like on a global scale, and it's really interesting. I don't know, to see how everything's playing out. It's disappointing in some ways, for sure, but what can you do without any type of real organization? The There's all sorts of different protests all over the planet, for the vaccine mandates, passports, for the lockdowns, for all that fun. You got immigrants pouring everywhere from all over the place, right? You got all the ones coming from Afghanistan, and then you got the ones from Haiti, and you got the ones from Mexico, and you got this. It's wild. All during a pandemic where everyone's supposed to get inoculated, you know. I guess we'll see how everything goes. But it's some things of grave concern would be, the vaccine passport would act very similarly to the social credit score, and that is not what we want, right? There's a lot of people in America that are unfamiliar with, that's fidgeting, that are unfamiliar with the social credit score. So basically, everything that you do, everybody that you hang out with, everyone that you interact with, has a rating or a score, right? So you eat good food, you get good points. You do bad things, you get lowered points. And this reflects on your credit score. Well, like a credit score. And this is your social credit, you know. The same type of concept is set up with the banking institutions for debt approval, right? You behave, you follow the rules, you do what you're supposed to do, you pay on time in full amount, and then we'll slowly start trusting you with more money and you're good, right? We have this with insurance as well. You see how it starts slowly, like things get brought out, right? 2 weeks, just a mask. There's no mandates. Well, now there's kind of mandates. All right, yeah, now our patience is wearing out. Okay, so insurance. Do you drive well? They have those little monitors that you put in your vehicle now. Some of the insurance companies to make sure that you're not going too fast, that you're not stomping on the brakes too hard, right? Monitors acceleration and all that fun, right? So let's just say the dollar's in a bad way, right? All this inflation, all this other stuff, and if the dollar goes, it's gonna affect a lot of other countries, right? Because we are living in a semi-globalistic world right now via all the powers that be and the different organizations within, and then all the different societies and joint ventures of all the, you know, elites. So America's economy crashes, it's going to affect basically the whole world, right? And then you can usher in a new currency, a global currency, right? You tie that in with your passports and your insurances and your credit scores, and now everything's digital. So it's convenient. You just have your phone with your tracking device and your microphone, right? And your camera. You just carry that around everywhere you go, and you go to buy something. It's going to get to the point where you don't even need a device, right? You have facial recognition. You just walk into a store and you load up your cart and you go to the little baggy thing and you bag it and you're on your way. And it just gets deducted right from your account, you know? Like you drive the car, you do whatever, and you just hop on the train and it gets scanned, you know? Smile for the camera, you know? What is that in Minority Report where they have the eye scanners, right? Yeah, you don't really need that. Not anymore. That was a little bit hyperbolic. They like take out his eyes and all that fun. I don't want to ruin it if you haven't seen it. It's a good movie. But man, and that's the thing. You step out of line, you start talking to people in a way you shouldn't be, you start questioning things in a way that you shouldn't, they can just turn you off, right? And now you got a smart grid. So anywhere you go, you can get facially recognized, right? And now people are like, well, that's for criminals, right? We can use facial monitoring, we can use this and that and whatever else. We can track down criminals. Well, who's a criminal? Whoever breaks the law. It might not be a criminal right now, but if laws change, you very well could be, right? That seems to be like the weird, like not following the thought through in a lot of people's minds, I suppose. Something like that, where it's like you can't just take this to the logical conclusion, right? If you allow anyone an extreme amount of power, right, to defeat something, there's no relinquishing that power afterwards, right? So you give the government the ability to track down terrorists and not mind human rights. And who cares about all that fun? We're fighting terrorists. Now that's a really vague term, right? Anyone who inspires terror is potentially a terrorist. Okay, 20 years later, we've only had more laws coming through, right? So now this incredibly powerful system that was set up in order to fight our enemies is also going to be able to be used against us, right? And anybody who doesn't follow that logic through, I don't know what the issue is, right? And now you might say, well, I abide by whatever and it's all good and everything's fine and yo, fine, cool, more power to you, right? But if you're not a little bit weary of all the things that are going on, I don't know. There's not really much anyone can do for you, I suppose. But it scares the shit out of me. I don't care for this at all, right? But that's just one front, right? You see, all the left is screaming about taxing the rich and socialism and all this other fun, right? Then the IRS announces that it's going to monitor transactions up to $600 or down to $600. It's like, yeah, so they're definitely going after the rich. You know what I mean? Jeff Bezos is sweating that $600 transaction he doesn't want to get caught with, you know? Or is this just another way to impede the middle class, right? The small self employed individual or the low level entrepreneur? Yeah, because you can't have a bunch of people being financially independent. You can't have people being like health independent. You need to depend on the medical system, right? You have to. If you don't have a monthly prescription, I mean, you wouldn't need them, right? And if you don't need them, then they don't have any power over you. But if you need medication every month, well, boy, you better do what you're told. The same type of thing with working for a big company, right? There's certain rules you got to follow, certain things you got to do, right? We are supposed to be a bastion of independence, right? The ideals that we are supposed to espouse as a nation are being disregarded and thrown to the side. And I'm really irritated by it. But hey, we got to turn this franchise around. That's basically what it comes down to. I don't want to just be complaining about things, right? There's a lot. There's a lot that can be fixed. There are a lot of solutions to our problems. And we need to get organized. and bring these solutions to the forefront. We have more in common with each other than those that want us to fight. Best of luck.